stones, and they're lying to him.
Yeah, I know about the stones. My son loves the Avengers.
So Thanos goes to this fucking planet, and he's killing all these motherfuckers, and there's this little girl fighting his fucking troops. Like, she's a toddler, but she's like, get back, I'll take you on. Like, she's just like, and
Ready to go.
like, yeah, and Thanos is like, stop. And he's like, I will train you to be a warrior, because you can't teach that heart. And so, like,
That's real, though.
yeah, so,
You can't
like,
teach art.
he kidnaps her, and he's like, you're my daughter now. And, like, he trained her
So the
to be
Avengers
a...
fans will definitely know.
Oh, yeah, he trained her to be a fucking killer.
Okay.
And so every
She's the
time...
shit.
But Gamora never went to Dad
Sounds
unless she had to. And so every time she went to Thanos, he'd always say the same thing, daughter. Just like that. And she's like... And she would go to him for her case or whatever the fuck. And so she's in my phone as daughter.
That's the goal, right?
So whenever she calls me, I'm like, oh, daughter's calling me, and she normally don't call me.
So there's an issue.
Let me walk outside. And so, and she always answers, daughter, step up. It's okay. Normal question. Is Thanksgiving still on? Like, you know, shit like that. So it's like she
Don't overreact.
Yeah, dude.
Don't
So
overreact.
she's cool. And then, like, you got Eric, and that's a work in progress. Because, like, I know...
How old's Eric?
Eric's 28. He's going to be 29.
Oh, well, he's out the nest. According to my theory. My bad.
That's
bad.
okay.
Like, according to my theory that we discussed.
It's okay.
You have to have that.
I'm not going to put all his shit out there.
Okay.
Right now, he needs a coach, from what I'm gathering.
We all do.
Like, I need to stop when... And I'm not like, I'm just trying to. I wasn't always the coolest to my stepdad, because I did have a stepdad. I'm not always the victim, you know. I was a douche to my stepdad. There was one time where I left a chick I was dating. I was stuck, like this chick. We were living in her family's house. I was using her car. Like her parents' car to get to training. I wasn't working. Like, every time
You were a burden.
Yeah, but every time I wanted, like, the connection was no longer there. Like, her dad hated me. Like, everybody hated me. And, like, I'm not going to name drop. Like, but it's like, it didn't work. And just the connection, like, I grew. I was a different person, man.
Yeah.
And I had to have my fucking mom come pick me up, and I had to say, oh, me and my mom are going to dinner. Like, and she's like, you don't get along with your mom. What the fuck? Like I did not get along with my mom at the time.
So she knew something was off.
And she was like, your mom and you never go to dinner. Like, what are you going? And so, like, we weren't on talking terms, dude. Like that's a whole nother layers. That's, you know.
Yeah. But back to Zach.
But it's like, back to Zach. Back to Eric.
Yeah, Eric.
I moved into my mom and her husband's house. And and he did not want me there. And I knew I knew he didn't want me there. And I knew how he felt. I knew because I would do dumb shit. I would sleep on the couch with my shoes on. I would get 50 cups for each.
Disrespectful shit.
Oh, yeah. Because I knew it irked him. But I knew my mom would clean up after me. Because that's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So I felt empowered and fucking protected at the same time.
It.
Oh, yeah.
It worked and milked
So
it.
it's like, I have to, but I can't look at that. Not everybody is me. You know, do I get triggered by some actions or facial expressions or stuff like that? No. But right now, I'll say Eric needs a coach. And
it sounds like it's time for you to put the dad cape on.
I'm the businessman. Like, that's how I'm going to approach Eric.
Everything's an investment.
Because it is. Because here's the thing, man. And this is what, like, God, I love, like, I'm not trying to brag on myself. I'm not responsible for people's outcome. But, you know, the people I work with, when I help them, like, work certain angles to be successful, and their paychecks go from, you know, the 75s to 90s, because they're listening to me, they're tweaking me, and it's like, I just want to show Eric, like, yo, dog, if you listen to me, right, I can show, and I believe he's there. He's there. There's no but so anymore.
Well, not saying he's not there. I was going to say, how could he not be there? Because if he looks at the example, based on what you just told me, you had a coach in your life who led you in the right direction. And it sounds like you're in a position where you're going to be able to pay that forward.
But even back then, it's like what I call Cain. Because I will I will have something happen to me. And I'm like, dude, I did that to Cain. And he was fucking heated, bro.
But look,
I'm sorry, I left the mop bucket out, man.
It's those little things that bring it full face. But you're now in that position where you get to be that coach, right?
Yeah.
And as you said, you're seeing different things where you're like, damn, I'm calling. But that's the beauty of being a dad, right? Now we're going to get that phone call hopefully one day when they're raising theirs and they're having that dad moment that we had with ours. No matter the age, because you can be a dad. Hell, nowadays, there are dads at 13, there are dads at 56, you know.
There's dads my
70.
grandfather died going out being a dad because, like, when my aunt, she was fucking, God, I'm well over 40, I think. But she moved in, like, she dropped everything and moved her husband and kid, like, in my grandpa's house, and none of them fucking worked. And they just said they were, air quotes, helping. But my grandfather was fucking loaded, baby. Okay, so they weren't, you know what I mean? So in reality, but
they were milking.
Everybody knew it. But in my grandpa's eyes, he was being a dad because his daughter needed him.
Honestly, I need him. I still need my mom. But my dad, when I tell you when my life decisions get difficult, like I think about how, like what my dad has said to me here, because my dad was big on focus, right? Like our dads, like I feel like as a dad, like you said, leadership, guidance, he was the one that was like, slow down, focus. You know what I mean? Like me and my mom would be going fast. My dad would slow down.
Yeah.
Take a minute. Evaluate. Think this through. And it's those things where now I find myself when I'm moving too quick. I need to slow down. I need to take a second. I need a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I need to think it through. And so it's, when I think about my dad had the ability to, like I said, make decisions. He had financial, like, because he had financial responsibility, he had disciplinary action. So it's one of those things that when we get down to it, you said it first, you said it best. You had a stepdad. I call mine dad because I had a dad. You know what I mean? Like he came in when I was 8. He's my dad, like A1. But for advice for like, and this is again, because this is a podcast for dads.
Yeah.
Is a man giving fatherly advice now, right?
Yeah.
Whether you want to call yourself, dad, whatever you want to call it, life coach, businessman. How do you make these decisions? Because I'm at this point now.
Yeah.
Where how do we make these decisions without having that man to call on that made us a man?
Oh, easy. Fucking easy. Always you go with the rule of 3. So whenever you're approaching a situation, because you got to think, they're coming to you with a problem. We're now the problem solvers.
Oh, every time. Well, that's a dad. That's
a dad.
A problem solver.
So here's how you do it. You use the rule of 3. Rule number 1, best material first. You go back in your Rolodex of bullshit. Hey, what did the old man fucking teach me?
Yep.
When this fucking bullshit happened.
I can get behind that.
Number 2, listen and connect. So whenever they are, because that's how it happens. You're still listening to their fucking grievance, to their bullshit, their goal, their issue, their whatever the fuck. And then rule number 3, let them talk. Let them fucking talk.
Sounds like sales.
I'm not trying to say that, but it's like that is
what it sounds like.
Because, and then you got to also inform them rules. Because whenever I start like giving feedback, I'll be like, all right, so the first problem that we have, like Zach, I'm going to use it when we talked to Bubba, I love you. But it's like when we talked about the whole, he was driving and he was texting and driving and he fucking kept going straight and he hit a pole instead of following the road the right way. And he's like, oh, they were just working on the road. And I was like, stop.
Gen Z millennial
I was like, stop, Zach, stop. That's not what happened. This is what happened. Like, let's fucking focus. Yeah. And so I was, because he told me his side of the story and I started talking. I was like, I know for a fact you were driving. I know for a fact you were either texting or scrolling through your phone, finding
You
some
were operating
music,
electronic device.
something on your phone. And he goes, I said, and I know, and he goes, I go, let me talk. I said, don't talk over me, let me talk. And the look on his face was like, I said, I gave you all the respect, my man. I said, now I'm giving you the feedback because we're gonna work through this together. You know what I mean? And so that's how I run a business. It's like I follow that rule of 3. I already go through my best material first to get you through the problem because I've already listened and connected to understand what the problem, and I already let you talk. So now, because you came to me
for a solution,
and I've heard your shit.
It's funny you say this because the way,
so that's how I operate a business. And so my wife and I, this is where me and my wife differ, is because she'll do the talky McOvery, and then she'll just get up and be like, damn it, I got it. Like, all right, honey, I love you. Because generally, wives always hate saying, you're right.
Every time.
So
every time.
Every time. So what were you saying? I'm sorry.
I forgot. You're good.
No, I was just that's how I operate. I follow the rule of 3 to get through the situation. That's what I do as a dad. Hope that answered your question.
I mean, it does a little bit, but I always think I go back to like when you go to that Rolodex, when you don't have, and I think about this for our viewers, right? And our viewers can chime in again, hashtag 2TiredDads at Facebook. You can see us on YouTube now, TikTok, all of it. Still listen to our listens. You're actually going to be able to see this podcast live. We're going to go ahead and post that up on YouTube after the case. So it wouldn't be live, but it'll be after the fact. But I'm thinking about as far as I feel bad in a circumstance, maybe not for us, right? But for the fathers out there that are trying to be fathers that don't have a father to turn to. Uh-huh. We at least have a Rolodex to turn to, whether it be, 20 years long, 5 years long, 10 years long, however it may be. We have that Rolodex, right? But we get to a point where it's like, I couldn't imagine trying to be a dad. No fatherly guidance. We live in this world where discipline is it discipline? Is it abuse? Is it right? Is it wrong? Everybody has an opinion, and like, as a father of a 4-year-old, when I go back to thinking about like the stepdads, right? Like, I have to, like, if you're going to be the stepdad to my child, I have to allow you to be dad when I'm not present, right?
Right.
So if that is the case, then discipline has to be approved and have to be discussed. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, at that point, we're going to discuss what's your terms of discipline versus my terms of discipline, because if you misdiscipline my kid, obviously...
You're talking about like laying the hands down.
I mean, it does. Discipline can be all types of things. Like, if I, for instance, hypothetically, if I gave my kid a cell phone, and that cell phone is his way of communication with me, and you take his way to communicate with me, we have a problem.
Like we disciplined Zach with the car when he hit the thing.
But this is you know what I mean? Like, well, the reason I'm saying this is because I think about a lot of parents out there, right? Like, they have, split parent households. Their kid has a cell phone to communicate. Now, there's not house phones anymore.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take my kid's ability to communicate away from me, we have a problem. Whereas for some parents, they may think, oh, that's discipline. Well, no, that's taking away. In my mind, you're taking my son captive or my daughter captive. You know what I mean? Whereas you could have called me and you could have said beforehand, hey, I got to let you know we got to do something about this. I'm going to go ahead and be like, yeah, go ahead and do that. Take their phone, whatever. At least I know I can't get a hold of them.
Yeah.
But the communication, I think where a lot of it gets lost for me is you have to communicate that before. So I always think about, imagine being the dad who was raised with parents. Now you have a kid, right? Like, we'll say, for instance, Oliver gets new stepdad, right? He comes in, he believes in, we take everything from you, right? Like, we will take everything out of your bedroom. All you have in there is a bed. That is your punishment.
Yeah.
To me, that's excessive.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
To him, that's discipline.
Yeah.
Right? Where do we as the dad have to step in and have that conversation? Like, hey.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be, I'm on the Goku level. So that's grandfather for everybody. So if someone, you gotta remember, I'm those boys. So did that. I mean, here's the thing. I had shit like that happen to me, where they took everything. My grandpa did do that. You know, I tell Carrie like stories about me growing